In a recent exchange on Reddit, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes director Wes Ball addressed some fan comments and questions about the movie, the first being why a certain two characters were cut from the movie's opening scene, the second being a small but exciting update regarding a potential sequel, and I wanted to give my thoughts. If you like what I do here and want to show your support, be sure to hit the like button on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so that you can stay up to date on all things Apes. Enjoy the video. Everybody, and welcome to Ape Nation, your #1 source for all things Planet of the Apes on YouTube. My name is Josh, and today I have some small but interesting updates regarding Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, as well as its potential sequel. Warning, this video contains a spoiler about the opening scene of the film, so if you still have not seen it, which I don't know why you would be watching this video if you haven't seen it, but if you still haven't seen the movie, you have been warned. This past weekend on the Planet of the Apes subreddit, someone posted a question asking something that many fans have been wondering about since the film first released, regarding two characters who were missing from the opening scene. Where were Nova and Bad Ape during Caesar's funeral during the opening of the movie? This is a question that many people have had. This is a question that I had when I first saw the movie. It's not a big question, it's not a big deal, but it is something that was on the mind of people, especially big fans, when we first saw the movie. And Wes Ball, the director of the movie, has an actual answer for us now. Wes Ball, who occasionally responds to fans on Reddit, commented on the post and explained why the two characters were cut. In his response, he says, "The reasons are boring / uninteresting, I'm afraid. I actually shot Nova, a lookalike because of the age of the original actor, against blue screen. She was going to be the one who places the first flower onto Caesar, but there was a concern by others on the team that the audience would confuse that character for May, who shows up later in the film. Ultimately, for fans, it would have been great, but the concern was for the average viewer who didn't even remember Caesar had died. I fought hard to keep it, but we lost that battle." As for Bad Ape, we couldn't afford to rebuild the character, unfortunately. We had a considerably lower budget in this one compared to the previous movies. The money that would have went into rebuilding that asset had to go to other sequences. Just one of those budget compromises that always happens when making a movie. But that is not the only thing that Wes responded to, though. When another fan chimed in praising the movie and expressing his excitement for the potential sequel, saying that he wanted Wes to come back and do the entire trilogy, Wes gave a small update. "Thanks y'all, we're thinking about the next one. Should be fun now that we've set up the characters and the new world. We can take a swing at something freaking awesome next." So as for my thoughts on all of this, I think there's a good amount to talk about here. First, I want to talk about the opening scene of the movie, why Bad Ape and Nova weren't in it, and my thoughts on why they weren't in it. So when the movie first came out, I first saw it. I loved the opening scene. I was surprised by the opening scene. It was one of the things I talked about in my review of the movie. And something I did notice, I never really mentioned it, but I did notice, is that Bad Ape and Nova weren't in it. It was something that was in the back of my mind. I wondered about it. I was a little upset not seeing them. Maybe not even upset, just a little disappointed not seeing them, but I got over it very, very quickly. And now hearing the reasoning for at least Bad Ape, it makes sense. It's just a budgetary thing. They couldn't afford to do it. They had to take that money that they would have used to recreate Bad Ape and put him in the movie and put it towards other things that were more important. I get it. It makes sense. As for why Nova's not in the movie, I don't like the reasoning as much, but not even that I get it. It's not surprising to me hearing that it was more of a studio concern over what audiences might think. And this is not uncommon for movies, especially big movies, is that the studio is always wondering, is the audience smart enough to understand this? Are they going to get this? Does it make sense? Things that might seem kind of basic to diehard fans or big fans of certain franchises, but to a general audience member might be confusing. There are always those battles that happens between creatives and studios. You've heard about them a million times. So it's not that surprising to hear that that's the reason it was cut. I personally wish that it was kept in, because it sounds like it would have been a nice moment and it would have been nice for fans, like Wes said. But again, like he also says, sometimes you just have to concede defeat on certain things not making it into the final cut. And ultimately, I think having Maurice and Rocket there was more important. So as long as they got to be in the scene, and also Cornelius got to be in the scene, that's all that really matters at the end of the day. Because while I do really like the character of Nova and I love the character of Bad Ape, they were not as integral to Caesar's story as those characters were. They didn't even come on board until the third movie. So So as much as I would have liked to see them in that opening scene, I get why they weren't in it, and it's not a big deal. So I'm glad that we now have an explanation and we can understand why that was the case. As for Wes's other comment talking about the potential sequel, where they're going to go next, just a small little tidbit about it. Of course, this isn't anything massive. This isn't confirming anything. This isn't giving any major details about what's going to be in the sequel, what it's going to be about. But there are a few things I wanted to say in regards to this comment, because it actually has changed my thinking on a couple of things. Something I said a while ago, I don't remember which video I said it in, but something I said a while back is that I don't necessarily think that Wes Ball is going to come back for a sequel. I just figured he's going to be doing Legend of Zelda. He's not going to have time for another Planet of the Apes movie. He's not going to want to commit to another trilogy. And so my thoughts immediately were, he's probably not going to come back. But after reading this comment, I will say this has made me rethink my stance. I think there's actually a chance, assuming the movie does happen, that he does come back to direct, or at the very least is very heavily creatively involved. The fact that he says we're thinking about this one right now, and that he's already has ideas, that he thinks that they can take a swing at something really awesome next, that they've already set up the characters in the world, I think that does confirm to me that at the very least it's on his mind still. He's not said no, and it's something that he is seriously still considering. So I'm not completely convinced he's not going to do it yet. I'm still not completely convinced he is going to do it, but I'm more convinced now than I was a few months ago. So I'm confident that he actually may end up directing the sequel after all. And if he does, that'd be really great, because I think it would be really exciting and refreshing in a way to see a director for this new trilogy do all three movies in it, as opposed to the last one, which was Rupert Wyatt and then handed off to Matt Reeves. So I would love to see him come back. This makes me hopeful that he actually is going to come back. So we'll see about that. What I also think is that it gives me more confidence that this sequel is coming. I think the fact that him and the team are talking about it, they're thinking about it, they're starting to get the wheels turning on it a little bit. They have ideas that they want to go for. They obviously already know the overall direction they want to go for with this trilogy. So it makes me a little more confident that this is going to end up happening. And I think with each day that passes, the more successful this movie ends up being, the more confidence in the sequel happening I do get. But this is so far, I think, one of the more concrete things we've seen that makes me fairly hopeful that we're going to get an announcement officially sometime within the next month or two, at least by the end of the year, if nothing else. So we'll see. And then when it comes to what he actually said towards the end of his comment, that they have set the foundation, they can take a swing at something awesome next, I'm excited to see what kind of swings they take now that that foundation is set, now that those characters in that world is all set up, those relationships are introduced, the ideas, the themes are all planted. So I'm really curious what they're going to have in store for us now that everything is all set up. I'm hopeful, and this is a point I've almost brought up in my 5 things I want to see in the sequel video, but I didn't. But something I really want to see in this sequel is them doing something radically different. I don't want them to completely, overhaul the entire Planet of the Apes lore and canon and all that kind of stuff, but I want to see them take what's been established and turn it on its head in a way. I want to see them take a big swing, do something unexpected, really surprise me, subvert my expectations if you can, and just do something that we're not expecting but still fits within this story and fits with the foundation and the story and the world and the characters that you set up in the first movie. So I'm confident that they can do that. I'm hopeful that they will do that, and based on what is being said here, I know it's not really a whole lot to go off of, it's just a small comment, but I think it does give me hope that that's kind of their plan, that's what they intend to do. So we'll see what happens. But I want to know what you guys think about all Wes's responses here down in the comments below. What do you think about Nova and Bad Ape not being in the opening scene? Were you disappointed that they weren't there? Does this reasoning give you any sort of closure to that? Do you think that the reasoning for Nova not being in it was kind of silly like me? Do you wish they'd just gone ahead and had her in it, or do you think it was fine that she wasn't there? And what do you think about these small comments on the sequel? Do you think like me it's going to happen? And also, do you think like me that Wes may actually end up directing it? I know some people have said no, many people have said yes. I was one of the people that originally said no, but now I'm starting to think maybe yes. So we'll see what happens. But like I said, I want to know all of your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you so much for checking out today's video here on Ape Nation. If you liked this video, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so that you can stay up to date on all things apes. I'll catch you in the next one. So until then, goodbye.